In various East Asian languages, the phrase 10,000 years is used to wish long life, and is typically translated as long live in English. The phrase originated in ancient China as an expression used to wish long life to the Emperor of China. Due to the political and cultural influence of China in the area, and in particular of the Chinese language, cognates with similar meanings and usage patterns have appeared in many East Asian languages. In some countries, this phrase is mundanely used when expressing feeling of triumph, typically shouted by crowds. In such situation, hurrah may be the adequate translation. China, the phrase wan sui was once used casually to wish a person long life. During the Tang dynasty, it came to be used exclusively to address the emperor as a prayer for his long life and reign. Then, during the 5 Dynasties and 10 Kingdoms period, its use was temporarily extended to include certain higher-ranking members of the imperial court, but this tradition was relatively short-lived. In later imperial history, using it to address someone other than the emperor was considered an act of sedition and was consequently highly dangerous. During certain reigns of weak emperors, powerful eunuchs such as Liu Jin and Wei Xingxian circumvented this restriction by styling themselves with Jiqiao and Sui so as to display their high positions, which were close to or even exceeded the emperor's, while still remaining reverent to the title of the emperor. Traditionally, empress consorts and empresses dowager were addressed with 1,000 years rather than 10,000 years, which was reserved for the emperor. However, Empress Dowager Cixi, the de facto supreme ruler of China from 1861 to 1908, was addressed with 10,000 years. Several photographs of her show a banner on her litter reading "The incumbent Holy Mother, the Empress Dowager of the Great Qing, will live and reign for 10,000 years, 10,000 years, 10,000 of 10,000 years." The emperor was addressed by the title Lord of 10,000 years. Usage equals. Classically, the phrase wan sui is repeated multiple times following a person's name or title. For example, in ancient China, the emperor would be thus addressed with Wang Huang Wansui, Wansui, Wansui. The foregoing phrase often appears in televised films, but is not historically accurate. In the Ming dynasty, the only occasion during which a euro is used is the Great Court, held thrice a year. Approaching the end of the ceremony, the attending officials will be asked to shout a euro 3 times. An important distinction made in Chinese but not in English is the use of sui to mean year, rather than the equally common nian, which is also translated as year. The former is used as a counter for years of life, whereas the latter is used for periods of time and calendar years. Thus the phrase 10,000 years in its original sense refers to 10,000 years of life, and not a period of 10,000 years. The significance of 10,000 in this context is only that 10,000 in Chinese and many other East Asian languages represent the largest discrete unit in the counting system, in a manner analogous to thousand in English. Thus 100,000 in Chinese is expressed as 10 10,000s. Similarly, whereas a million is 1,000 thousands, the analog in Chinese is bciyn, which is literally 110,000s. Because of this, Chinese people often use yn in a manner analogous to thousand a euro, whereas an English speaker might exclaim there are thousands of ants on the ground. The Chinese speaker would substitute it with 10,000 in the description. So in the context of YNSUA, a literally incorrect but culturally appropriate translation might be, may you live for thousands of years. The number simply denotes innumerability, in a manner etymologically similar to the Greek myriad. During the Qing, at the entrances of the mosques in China, a tablet was placed upon which the characters for Huangdi, Wansui, Wansui, Wansui were inscribed, which means, the emperor, may he live forever. Westerners traveling in China noted the presence of these tablets at mosques in Yunnan and Ningbo. In August 1945, after Generalissimo Chiang Kai-shek announced the defeat of Japan in the Second Sino-Japanese War, the people exclaimed Chiang Chunkuo Wansui Wansui, which means, Chiang China live 10,000 years. Live 10,000 10,000 years. Modern use equals. One of the most conspicuous uses of the phrase is at the Tiananmen Gate in Beijing, where large placards are affixed to the gatehouse reading Zhenghua copyright Ma Wen Ga squared na copyright Gua cubed YNSUA, and Shajia Ra copyright Ma Wen Da to ANJIA copyright YNSUA. During the Cultural Revolution, the saying Mao ZHC Za YNSUA was also common. After Mao's death, the phrase has never been used for any individual. Apart from these special cases, the phrase is almost never used in political slogans today. In casual conversation, however, the phrase is used simply as an exclamation of joy. For example, CCTV commentator Huang Jiangxiang shouted Ya Da La YNSUA during a game of the 2006 FIFA World Cup. Taiwan-based singer Liam Wang's 2007 album Change Me contains a song called Iae. Japan. The Chinese term was introduced to Japan as banzu in the 8th century, and was used to express respect for the emperor in much the same manner as its Chinese cognate. Banzu was later revived as banzai after the Meiji Restoration. Banzai as a formal ritual was established in the promulgation of the Meiji Constitution in 1889 when university students shouted banzai in front of the emperor's carriage. Around the same time, banzai also came to be used in contexts unrelated to the emperor. The supporters of the freedom and people's rights movement, for example, began to shout Jaya Banzai in 1883. During World War II, banzai or its full form Tenahika Banzai served as a battle cry of sorts for Japanese soldiers. Ideally, kamikaze pilots would shout banzai as they rammed their planes into enemy ships. Although Japanese popular culture has portrayed this romanticized scene, it is unknown if any pilot actually did so. Its confirmed use by ground troops, however, was heard in numerous battles during the Pacific Campaign, when Japanese infantry units attacked Allied positions. As a result, the term banzai charge gained common currency among English-speaking soldiers and remains the most widely understood context of the term in the West to this day. Modern use equals. Traditionally, banzai was an expression of enthusiasm, and crowds shouting the word 3 times, arms stretched out above their heads, could be considered the traditional Japanese form of applause. More formally, the word is shouted 3 times during the dissolution of the House of Representatives and also as an acclamation at the enthronement of the Japanese emperor. Korea, the same term is pronounced mans in Korean. In Silla, it was used as a casual exclamation. It was a part of the era name of Taebong, one of the later 3 kingdoms declared by the King Gungyi in 911. During Joseon, Koreans used Kyeonts in deference to the Chinese emperor. In the 20th century, various protests against Japanese occupation used the term in their names, including a pro-independence newspaper established in 1906, the March 1st movement of 1919, and the June 10th movement of 1926. In North Korea, mans was used to wish long life for Kim Jong-il, and for the political principles of his father, Kim Il-sung. It is now used to wish Kim Jong-un with a long life. It is also used as a casual proclamation, commonly used as the English equivalent of victory. Vietnam. In Vietnamese, Vien Tue is the phrase cognate to the Chinese Nguyen Sue and is the Sino-Vietnamese reading of Chinese, e. However, this word is rarely used in the modern language, appearing instead only in China-related contexts. In other situations, Nguyen Na Florin M is used instead, and is frequently heard in communist slogans, such as Ha Ka Min Nguyen Na Florin M. and AA Pound NG Ka and registered trademark NG Za Pound N Nguyen Na Florin M. Just like the Japanese banzai, it is said 3 times. Because Nguyen is from an archaic Sino-Vietnamese pronunciation of wict, e, Ka now M were created to write it and Na Florin M before the Latin-based Vietnamese alphabet became standard. Nguyen is a sound-meaning compound consisting of a gate for the sound part and the character for 10,000 for the semantic part. The character for Na Florin M, also a sound-meaning compound, uses south for the phonetic portion of the character and ear for the meaning, th1/4. These characters, while archaic, are nonetheless part of Unicode and are mapped to U+28DC8 and U+221A5, respectively, and with the right fonts installed may actually display THTH cent yen. Elsewhere, in Portuguese the word banza copyright, directly taken from the Japanese banzai, is still used as meaning a lot of noise made by a gathering of people. See also, the king is dead, long live the king. A traditional European saying, used to wish for long life of the monarch, said when a new king was crowned, Stulat, a similar Polish phrase and song meaning 100 years, Mabuhay, a traditional Philippine cheer meaning may you live long. In Saecula Saeculorum. Notes